You've probably heard it countless times, maybe even said it yourself. This place sells itself.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a classic line.
It really is. It's a common refrain in real estate, often whispered with this, hopeful resignation. But here's the often overlooked truth. Very few homes genuinely sell themselves.
Almost none, really.
Exactly. In fact, if you're banking on your property's inherent desirability alone, you might be leaving significant value and maybe serious offers just sitting there on the table.
You really might be.
So today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the art of creating demand in real estate. Whether you're navigating the sale of a home with some unique quirks, maybe an older property with tons of character, or even a high-end luxury estate, we'll unpack how strategic thinking, precise positioning, and, masterful storytelling can completely transform any listing.
And our mission for you today is pretty clear, I think. We're going to explore what it truly means to sell the story of a home, not just its square footage or its features. Our sources reveal these really tactical, smart, and often, frankly, surprising approaches that ensure a property doesn't just get seen,
Right.
but actually becomes desired by the right buyer. The core idea running through all of this, well, is that value without demand is ultimately just a nice idea on paper.
Just a nice idea, exactly. So if you've ever found yourself wondering how to unlock that hidden potential in a property, or maybe you just love peeling back the curtain on clever, effective strategies, well, this deep dive is absolutely for you. Okay, let's start with what feels like a really fundamental mindset shift. Many people, perhaps even some agents, sort of cling to this idea that a great home will simply sell itself. What's the biggest flaw in that thinking? What are they fundamentally getting wrong?
Well, it's a pervasive myth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's comfortable because it allows for a passive approach. Just list it and wait. But the reality is, as our sources really emphasize, strategy sells homes, period.
Strategy.
Oh, think about it. Whether a house is quirky, a bit dated, maybe oddly shaped, or just not conventionally sexy, there's almost always someone out there who's the perfect buyer for it. The real secret isn't just hoping that buyer stumbles upon it online or drives by.
Right, passive hope.
Exactly. It's actively working smarter to find them. Too many agents, they just list a home and cross their fingers, hope for the best. But a truly strategic approach that focuses on actively creating demand rather than just passively waiting for it to maybe materialize. That shift from passive waiting to active creation, that's pretty much everything.
Okay, so strategy is clearly the key ingredient, not just waiting around. But where does someone even begin to build that strategy? What's the very first brick in that foundation?
Yeah, and that's a great question, actually, because it leads directly to the first crucial step our sources highlight. Find the angle.
Yeah.
Every single property, no matter how unassuming it might seem at first glance, has a unique story or some kind of untapped possibility. Your job, as a seller or the agent, is to uncover what that is.
Okay, find the angle. So what does that look like in practice?
Well, is it the generous square footage that truly stands out?
Hmm.
Or maybe the rare privacy it offers. Perhaps the layout is uniquely suited for, say, multi-generational living. Or maybe it's just a fantastic blank canvas waiting for a creative buyer to put their stamp on it. Does it boast rare zoning? Offer significant rental upside potential? Does it have a backyard that's just crying out for a pool? The goal isn't just to describe what is right now, but to sell the possibility of what could be. As one of our sources put it really powerfully, I thought, if the home doesn't scream desire, you whisper it strategically.
Oh, I like that. Whisper it strategic.
You're looking for that unique hook, that special something.
That's a powerful shift in thinking, from screaming obvious features to whispering potential.
Yeah.
So once you've actually honed in on that unique angle, the real challenge becomes how you communicate it effectively, right? Because it's clearly got to be more than just listing, 3 beds, 2 baths.
Oh, absolutely. It's way more than a bulleted list. Once you've identified that angle, you then transition to the next step. Market the lifestyle, not the floor plan.
Lifestyle, okay.
This is where you really tap into emotions. Instead of just stating dry facts, you talk about feelings and experiences.
Okay.
For example, a simple backyard isn't just grass and a fence. Maybe it's a weekend barbecue haven or a tranquil morning coffee escape.
Right. Paints a picture.
Exactly. A spare room isn't just, an extra room. It's a future in-law suite or maybe a remote office retreat. Very relevant now.
Uh-huh.
And that often overlooked side lot. It's not just unused space. It's potential boat parking, maybe a private yoga deck, or even, future income from an ADU and accessory dwelling unit. The best listings, the ones that really connect, don't just list technical specifications. They actively trigger imagination. They paint that vivid picture of what life could actually feel like in that space.
Yeah, selling the dream, not just the dimensions. Because, let's be real, no one's just buying a pool, are they?
Oh,
They're buying that feeling of a relaxing afternoon, the sound of kids splashing, maybe the peace of an evening swim under the stars. That's what they're buying.
precisely. It's the experience.
That makes perfect sense. But then, how do we translate this lifestyle and this story into something tangible? I mean, what does this mean for how a home actually looks to a potential buyer browsing online or walking through? How do we inject that visual energy you mentioned?
Right, because the visuals are crucial. This is precisely where presentation becomes absolutely paramount. You need to create visual energy.
Hmm.
You're not just showing rooms in a house. You are, quite literally, as one source put it, producing a mood.
Producing a mood.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this demands an investment. We're talking professional photography that's non-negotiable.
Mm.
Maybe using a drone to capture the true scope and context of the property, especially vital for waterfronts, big acreage, or really unique architectural rooflines. Twilight shots can add that dramatic, inviting glow. It creates that aspirational feeling.
Yeah, those always look amazing.
They do. Lifestyle staging, too. Not just generic furniture, but intentional touches that hint at the story you're telling. That helps buyers instantly visualize themselves living that life right there. And cinematic video walkthroughs, not just shaky phone videos accompanied by engaging music. There's anything that, elevator jazz, something that evokes emotion.
Right, not the boring stuff.
Exactly. It completes the immersive experience.
Hmm.
Even if a home isn't conventionally perfect, the right presentation makes it feel premium. As our sources really drive home, perception equals positioning, and positioning creates offers. It's a direct line.
Perception equals positioning. Positioning creates offers. That's a powerful equation. Okay, but what about the less than ideal features? Let's be honest, every home has something, right? A weird layout, an older kitchen. How do you handle potential objections head on rather than just hoping buyers won't notice or won't care?
Yes, the potential deal breakers. This is where many people, even agents, tend to fall short. Yet it's such a critical part of a strategic sale. You have to control the narrative.
Control the narrative, okay.
So if your listing has, say, a split-level layout, or a dated kitchen, or maybe a driveway that's a bit tucked away and awkward, don't shy away from it. Don't try to hide it. Instead, you address it first, proactively, then immediately neutralize it with context, or, ideally, spin it into a benefit.
How do you do that? Give me an example.
Okay, so a split-level layout, which some buyers might see as dated, you frame it as perfect for multi-generational living, offering distinct zones and privacy.
Okay, got it.
A retro kitchen. It becomes one with massive potential for custom redesign, positioning it as a blank canvas for their dream kitchen, not a drawback.
Right. An opportunity.
Exactly, and a tucked-away driveway. That adds privacy and removes road noise. See? You turn a perceived negative into a positive attribute. When you proactively control the objection like that, you often eliminate it as a deal breaker before the buyer even has a chance to fully form it as a negative in their mind. You've already given them the positive frame.
That's incredibly proactive. It's like playing offense instead of defense. Can you give us a real-world illustration, a story where this principle really came to life?
Absolutely. I love this example from one of the sources. They described a listing that backed up to a water retention pond.
Oof. Yeah, not exactly prime waterfront, is it?
Not exactly. Not a selling point most agents would highlight, right? You can imagine. But instead of ignoring it or apologizing for it, they leaned in. They reframed it in the listing description and marketing as a private water feature with no boat traffic or neighbors.
Ah, clever. Very clever.
Yeah. And then they staged the area intentionally. They put out a subtle outdoor fire pit, added some carefully placed landscaping, and even set up a little vignette with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses on the patio overlooking the pond.
Setting the scene.
Totally. It wasn't about deception at all. It was about shifting the perspective, creating that mood we talked about. And get this. They sold that property at full ask, and the buyers specifically mentioned they loved the peaceful backyard vibe.
Wow, so they bought the story.
They bought the story. That's creating demand in action, taking a perceived flaw and transforming it into a unique, desirable selling proposition. It just powerfully reinforced that idea from our sources that luxury isn't just a price point, it's a presentation. How you frame it matters immensely.
That story really drives home the point. And speaking of luxury, This naturally brings us to an even higher level of strategy, doesn't it? For luxury properties, these principles we've been talking about, the story, the lifestyle, the presentation, they seem like they become absolutely non-negotiable, right? The stakes just feel even higher.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Precisely. For luxury properties, you're not just selling a home or even just a lifestyle. You are selling a lifestyle, a brand, and a feeling, all wrapped up together. It extends far, far beyond simply sticking a sign in the yard and, hoping the right wealthy buyer drives by.
Right, more than hope.
Much more. As our sources demonstrate, the approach shifts. It's about how to position assets to the right buyers. This requires a really specialized, almost surgical process, a much deeper strategy, and it really begins with step one, strategic buyer profiling. Before you even think about writing a description or taking a photo, you must identify the ideal buyer for that specific, unique property.
So really drilling down on who this person is.
Exactly. Are we targeting a relocating C-suite executives? Maybe international investors looking for a specific type of asset? Perhaps it's prestige-driven individuals seeking cutting-edge design and exclusivity? Or maybe a family looking for a very specific kind of legacy retreat? This detailed profile then guides every single subsequent step in the marketing and positioning process. Everything flows from knowing who you're talking to. Without it, you're essentially marketing blindfolded in a very sophisticated market. Then comes step two, premium pricing strategy. Luxury pricing doesn't just adhere to standard market comps like you might do for a more typical home.
Right, it's not just about the house next door.
Not at all. It involves a much deeper analysis. Looking at the active luxury competition, identifying the unique lifestyle upgrades your specific home offers that command a premium, understanding the crucial and often large appraisal gaps versus the emotional value drivers,
Yes.
and having a really nuanced grasp of buyer psychology at that specific high-end price tier. What motivates them? The goal isn't just to slap a price tag on it, it's to build a compelling pricing narrative that clearly articulates the why behind the number, and then, crucially, to create scarcity around it. Make it feel like a rare opportunity.
Wow, okay, so this definitely isn't guesswork at all. It sounds like a really complex blend of meticulous analysis, understanding buyer psychology, and really precise negotiation timing.
That's a great way to put it.
It really underscores that powerful insight you mentioned earlier. You can't attract a $5 buyer with $500 marketing. The strategy has to match the asset.
Exactly. The investment in the strategy, the thinking, the presentation, it has to reflect the value of the asset itself. You can't cut corners.
Okay, so we talked about visual energy before, but the idea of cinematic presentation for luxury, that sounds elevated. What specific elements make a luxury presentation really stand out, truly distinguish it from just, good photos?
Right, it's taking everything up several notches. For luxury, we elevate cinematic presentation to a whole new level. Think of it like producing a feature film for the home, creating a bespoke experience for the viewer.
Like a movie trailer for a house.
Sort of, yeah. But more immersive, this means truly high-end video walkthroughs, often with professional voiceovers narrating the lifestyle, or maybe a meticulously chosen musical score to set a really aspirational tone. Drone aerials become absolutely crucial here for showcasing the grandeur, the waterfront, the vast acreage, the unique architectural statements from above. Gives that sense of scale and place. Virtual twilight photography is almost standard now at this level. It creates that dramatic emotional mood we talked about, but perfectly executed. And lifestyle storytelling really comes alive, showing the home in use, not just empty rooms. You might see a beautifully staged dinner party on a terrace, maybe someone relaxing by the pool, or enjoying a sunset from a master suite balcony. It helps people project themselves into that life. Every single asset, every photo, every video clip, every sentence is carefully crafted, built to trigger emotion and action. It's all about painting a picture of an enviable life that this property enables.
Okay, got it. And then how do you get those cinematic assets in front of the right, often very specific eyeballs?
Great question. Because the presentation is useless if the right people don't see it. That leads to multi-channel luxury marketing. And the key here is, you absolutely cannot rely on just the local MLS or waiting for someone to randomly stumble across it online. That just won't cut it.
So where do you go?
Our sources emphasize highly targeted campaigns. We're talking curated luxury platforms, think The Real Deal, Mansion Global, James Edition, places where high net worth individuals are actually looking. Then there are sophisticated digital ad campaigns, often geofenced to target specific affluent zip codes, not just locally but across the US and even internationally depending on the likely buyer profile. We leverage Instagram and YouTube Reels, but with very strategic hooks designed to capture attention quickly. And crucially, there's direct outreach. tapping into a carefully cultivated luxury buyer Rolodex, and leveraging an extensive high-end broker network. Personal connections matter here.
That network sounds key.
It really is. This whole approach creates presence, yeah, active presence, not just passive visibility. It ensures the right, highly qualified eyes see the property presented in the best possible light. The core principle from our research here, you don't need a sign in the yard, you need strategy. The sign is almost irrelevant at this level.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, but what about those unique situations, maybe with high-profile sellers, where discretion is absolutely paramount? How do you handle that?
Ah, yes, the need for privacy. That's when we implement a private access strategy. For certain sensitive listings, the most effective approach is actually one of quiet confidence. Less is more, in a way.
Quiet confidence, how does that work?
Well, it can involve things like NDA-required previews, non-disclosure agreements before someone even gets detailed information, or offering private showings exclusively to pre-vetted, highly qualified clients and their agents. Sometimes it involves completely off-market exposure, where the property is only presented discreetly to a select group, maybe specific investment funds, corporate relocation executives, or a trusted circle of top-tier buyer agents known for handling discerning clients.
So keeping it very controlled.
Exactly. This increases the sense of exclusivity and, critically, it prevents the property from becoming stale on the open market by being widely available without the right targeted positioning. It protects the perceived value. And finally, all of this culminates in smart negotiation and closing. At the luxury level, the approach isn't just about reacting to offers as they come in. It's about actively shaping the offers.
Shaping them.
How?
It means rigorously pre-qualifying any potential buyer's interest and financial capacity before agreeing to serious showings. Wasting time is not an option. It means strategically structuring favorable timelines and terms that benefit you, the seller, not just the buyer. Thinking ahead. And minimizing friction throughout the process is key. Having all necessary documents, disclosures, potential inspection reports, and legal protections prepared up front, ready to go.
Smooths the path.
Absolutely. The goal is to close the deal with what our sources describe as concierge-style service from offer to key handoff, making the entire experience seamless and stress-free for the seller. The overarching mission, as one source put it with a military analogy, is to bring Marine Corps-level discipline to the listing and marketing, combined with luxury concierge care during the transaction. It's that blend of rigor and service. And, they added, trust me, the results show.
Marine Corps discipline and luxury concierge care, that's quite a combination.
It paints a picture, doesn't it?
It really does. So, wrapping this up, what we've really explored today reveals that, honestly, regardless of the property, whether it's charmingly quirky or unequivocally luxurious, the ultimate success of a sale really hinges on a meticulous, multifaceted strategy.
Yeah, it's not just luck.
Not at all. It's about so much more than just listing the features. It's truly about selling the story, marketing the lifestyle effectively, and controlling that narrative, turning mere descriptions, mere facts, into compelling desires that make a buyer act.
And, if your home isn't perfect by some conventional standard, that's actually okay. Maybe even good.
Good. How so?
Because that just means you need a professional, someone who doesn't just list and sell real estate. They sell the story of possibility. They find that angle and run with it.
That's a great takeaway. And this applies to so much more than just property, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Think about your own goals, listening out there, whether it's in real estate, your career, maybe even personal projects. How much are you focusing just on the inherent value of what you offer versus actively working to create demand and strategically positioning your story for the right audience? It's a really transferable concept.
It really is, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sell smart, stage smarter, and never, ever assume your home needs to be perfect. It just needs to be positioned right.